Hi, Michelle Glass here. Welcome back to another episode in our Chapter 10 video series, Lecture 10 series. And our topic for today is looking at what are the factors that affect how tension builds in a skeletal muscle. So what we can see is that the starting sarcomere length can alter how much tension can be built. Remember, you have that zone of overlap, which has to come together in order to, or overlap more in order to get those Z lines close to each other in the sarcomere unit. So if you're starting out already mostly overlap, there's not that much more tension that can be built in that particular muscle. So if you've been doing a lot of activity, you can't build that much more tension. If you're starting out at the optimal length, then that's when you can build your most tension with that muscle contraction. If you're overstretched, which doesn't typically happen, you may have a hard time actually making the contact to get those cross bridge formations in order to get that sliding filament happening across the thin filament sliding across the thick filament. So the starting sarcomere length can alter how much tension can be built in that muscle. The frequency of stimulation. This is talking about how rapid the neuron is firing. The more rapidly the neuron is firing, the more tension can be built in that muscle. So this is a direct relationship. We have three different levels of tension. So we have, starting with the lowest frequency, that's a twitch, that's a single stimulus. Type A is increasing your amount of stimulation. And then tetany is the most rapid level of neural stimulation here. A twitch is just a single contraction cycle. So that's where you get your neural stimulus and then you get your cross bridge formation and your detachment. Now there are three phases to a contraction cycle. So the stimulus hits and then you're in the latent phase. So this is the period of time where that signal has to effectively travel the skeletal muscle. You have to get that release of calcium before you can start getting your cross bridge formation. Once you start getting your cross bridge formation, you're moving into the contraction part of the contraction cycle, and then you're going to see cross bridge detachment and the calcium ion being pumped back into the sarcoplasmic reticulum, leading to the relaxation of that muscle. So clearly a twitch is not going to produce very much movement, if any, in the muscle. Type A is the German word for stairwise. So this is described as a stairwise or step increase in tension. Now we'll see type A contractions in cardiac muscle, but not in skeletal muscle. In the type A type of contraction, you're increasing your stimulation frequency more than just that single stimulus. And so you are increasing the amount of tension that you can build, but you're going to max out. So you're not able to actually reach your peak tension in this type of contraction. What we're going to see here is that some of that calcium is going to be released. But it's not fully sequestered. So there's a little bit of calcium left available. It's not all effectively being pumped back into the sarcoplasmic reticulum. So here you're getting a stimulus, you get your latent contraction relaxation phase, stimulus, latent contraction relaxation phase, stimulus, latent contraction relaxation phase. So you're getting a full relaxation phase, but because some of that calcium is still available, you can get more tension built in this muscle at type A level of frequency than you can at twitch. The tetany is where you're going to get your maximum amount of tension being produced. So here you're going to see that the neural signal is so fast that you don't get any relaxation phase at all. So that calcium is just continually available, so you just continue to get cross bridge formation, detachment, cross bridge formation, detachment, and so forth. Okay, and then the last factor that affects how much tension is built in the muscle is called recruitment. So what we're seeing is that your muscle can recruit, the whole muscle can recruit as many muscle fibers as needed to overcome the load. So if I just need to scratch my nose, it's not going to take very many muscle cells to get my hand up to my nose in order to do that movement. But if I needed to pick up my jug of tea, it's going to take a little bit more depending on how full my tea is, right? If I'm picking up my A&P textbook or my backpack full of my A&P textbook, then it's going to require more muscle fibers to overcome that sort of load. So what we'll see is that the muscle fibers are actually arranged in what are called motor units. A motor unit is the group of muscle fibers controlled by the single motor neuron. Now notice this is an image artwork taken from your textbook. You can see that the purple neuron is controlling those purple colored muscle fibers. The green, the blue corresponds to the green fibers. And then the orangey colored neuron is corresponding to the orange colored muscle fibers. So you can think of this as the purple motor unit and the blue motor unit and the orange motor unit. Now keep in mind these motor units are going to be all or none. If that purple neuron is contracting, then that's going to stimulate all of the purple neuron muscle fibers, and they're going to contract and build tension. The bigger the load is, the more muscle fibers you're going to recruit in order to overcome that load. And you just learn this through experience, being human and trying to pick stuff up and testing how heavy it is. And so you just are able to sort of look at something and anticipate how heavy or light it's going to be. And then based on that, you sort of know how many muscle fibers you need to recruit. We also have here what's shown as the asynchronous muscle contraction. And there you're seeing that you have like the first motor unit contracting, and as it's relaxing, the second motor unit is picking up the load, and then as it's getting ready to relax, the third motor unit is ready to pick up the load. So by alternating which muscle motor units are responsible for holding the load, this is allowing time for those cells to relax and recover from that muscle contraction. Okay, so that's it for now.